Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, Donald Trump is expected to make it official and announce his third run for the White House after months of speculation.
This is the year we're going to take back the House, we're going to take back the Senate, and we're going to take back America. And in 2024, most importantly, we are going to take back our magnificent White House.
Well, Donald Trump has been teasing this for a long time, that he would be making a very big announcement. And that announcement is set for tonight, Mar-a-Lago, Florida, where Donald Trump is in all likelihood going to jump in. And why wouldn't he? It's a quest to be relevant, of course. It helps to shield him possibly from legal challenges, helps him raise money. And as we know, the former president likes to be right at the center of the conversation. Let's bring in Steve Farnsworth, political commentator, with his take. Steve, is there any way that this does not happen tonight, that Donald Trump actually decides not to run?
Well, there certainly is some conversation among Republicans that it might be more useful if the former president waited a little while longer, maybe till after the runoff in Georgia. But I don't know that Donald Trump is one to listen to advice all that much. I think really what's more likely is that he does say he's going to run because he needs to change the subject. A lot of Republicans are blaming him for an uninspiring result from the midterm election from the point of view of Republicans. And so you change the subject by saying you're back in the race.
Yeah, and it makes you relevant, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely. And that's the key thing that Donald Trump has to worry about. The latest, some of the early poll numbers for 2024 suggest that Republicans might be thinking a little bit more about Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, than Donald Trump. And certainly it's in his interest to be all in right now for that reason, to make sure that whatever erosion is going on within the Republican Party towards DeSantis might be stopped or slowed.
Yeah, it's kind of like putting a stick in the wheels, isn't it, of any momentum that Ron DeSantis may have, Steve?
Well, that's absolutely right. And nobody likes putting sticks in wheels more than Donald Trump. He's a chaos candidate. He really does enjoy being in the mix. And the worst possible thing is for him to be seen as a has-been. And so he will be back at it again, whether the announcement is tonight or later on. I cannot imagine that Donald Trump will retire as kindly as some of the Republicans are suggesting he should do right now.
How about as a tool for fundraising, Steve? What do you think?
Well, absolutely. You know, if you're Donald Trump, you want to be sure that you have lots of runway to raise as much money as you possibly can, particularly if this is going to be a competitive, long-fought struggle for a Republican nomination. You don't want to wait till the last minute. One of the things that you know about Ron DeSantis going in is that he is a very effective fundraiser in his own right. And so you're looking at an environment where you're having to compete with somebody who's well known as a source of fundraising.
How much of the Republicans' failure to kind of create a red surge in the midterms it lies at the feet of Donald Trump, Steve? People just sort of turned off by him and the fact that he was, very front and center over the past couple of months in terms of his legal troubles and hinting that he's going to run. What sort of pall did that cast over the Republican tickets?
Well, certainly that's part of the problem. Donald Trump really didn't let these candidates get out from under the shadow of Donald Trump throughout the campaign. And he creates a backlash, particularly in swing states. But even more deeply, I think that because Donald Trump is evaluating Republican candidates on the basis of loyalty to him personally above all, the Republican Party was saddled with some pretty problematic candidates. Think Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania. Think Herschel Walker in Georgia. And there's some others. But the bottom line is that Donald Trump saddled the Republican Party with poor Senate candidates in places where they might have won. But there's a second issue, too, Todd, and that's that Supreme Court decision overturning Roe versus Wade. That really motivated a lot of voters, especially younger voters, to participate in this midterm election. We tend to have pretty low turnout in midterm elections in the United States, but with Donald Trump more or less on the ballot and with abortion more or less on the ballot, Democrats had a much better night than midterm elections usually are for the party controlling the White House.
Hey, just 30 seconds, but if he decides to jump in, which we expect he will tonight, is he the automatic favorite for the nomination for the Republicans?
Well, he's certainly one of the top two. Don't take Ron DeSantis and put him in a second status anymore.
Steve, always good to see you. We'll see how it plays out tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. I know you'll be watching as well. Thanks.